Good day, this is Simon channel and tutorial of Embraer E-Jets by Supercritical Simulations Group. We are sitting in the cockpit of Embraer 170. Honestly, for me it is one of the most beautiful aircrafts available for X-Plane 11. I know you can disagree because there are still many things to improve, but I'm sure that with our support, your and mine, SSG will improve them in further updates. Okay, let's start to learn this aircraft. This is our overhead panel. GPU ground power unit is already connected, therefore we have to switch on batteries and make it in use. Emergency lights armed, navigation lights on, and cockpit lights on your discretion. Checked. It will take a while before all of this place will be power supplies, therefore we're coming back to overhead panel and making fire extinguisher test. Annunciators test. Everything seems to be okay. As you can see, most of buttons and switches are set in auto position, therefore you have nothing to do with them. The only one exception is APU and hydraulic pump 3A, which will be switched on just before engine start. And the first important note, when you press some button and you will see this white illuminated bar, it means that these buttons are set in position off. You can check it on ACAS when, as you can see, pack 1 is off, pack 2 is off. In general, if anything is highlighted here on blue or orange, it means that these items are dysfunctional and you have to fix it. So we are fixing pack 1, pack 2, we are checking everything's okay. And we can say that so far overhead panel is set okay. Let's discuss our flight plan. Today we are flying over Brazil, the homeland of Embraer. Our departure airport is Gaviao Peixoto near Araraquara, where almost 20 years ago Embraer has opened a plant to house the final assembly of aircraft and to test equipment and technology. For this purpose, Embraer built runway almost 5,000 meters long, considered to be the longest public use runway in both Americas and the 5th longest in the world. Did you know? Even so, only 3,000 meters are actually used, what you will see just before our departure. From Gaviao Peixoto, we will fly over Ribeirão Preto, Poços de Caldas, to Sao Jose dos Campos, where Embraer has its headquarters office and the main plant. Okay, we can start to set the FMC and the other items. Let's start from our adjustment panel. Payload and fuel. There are two ways to set it. If you don't use detailed flight plan, you are setting payload on your discretion just by checking proper boxes. Don't forget to set payload to confirm it. About fuel, there are two ways as well. Magenta color means automatic mode. When you configure FMC completely with route, seed and start procedures, reserve fuel and cruise altitude. In this box you will see required fuel quantity. And then you are just clicking fuel or defuel depending on current quantity of fuel on board. As I use detailed flight plan by scene brief, I will use calculated values that are displayed here. Okay, pax 65 passengers. It means that payload is 6.8. Okay, it's a little bit too much, so we are checking. Okay, we are decreasing that. Set payload and fuel 3.1. I have to set it manually. 3.1 kilograms because my settings are in kilograms. 3.1, and I have to fuel the aircraft. And on making so. Our cruise altitude today is flight level 230. It's a little bit too low, taking under consideration flight 45 minutes long, but it's intentional cruise altitude. I want to show you something related to cruise speed, and I will tell you about it a little bit later. Now we can start to configure our FMC. Performance init, position init. You can see 3 positions: last position, airport position and current position. There are 2 ways to set it as well. Some pilots selecting all 3 positions. I select just one, the last one, GPS, current position. In fact, it doesn't matter for your flight. Our departure airport is Sierra Bravo Golf Papa Gaviao Peixoto, and arrival airport is Sierra Bravo Sierra Juliet Sao Jose. Our call sign is just Embraer 170. This is flight offline because it's tutorial flight. We need a time to discuss some issues. And finally, today will be same. Another important mark: don't activate route on this page. Why? Because it will make a mess in your flight plan. Here, if you activate route on this stage, on this page, it will create direct link between your departure airport to the first waypoint in your flight plan. And when you on further pages confirm seat procedure, it will not change. It will create another one, parallel route, taking under consideration seat procedure. I can make you sure that using RNAV mode will be very problematic in such situation. Therefore, we don't activate route on first page. We are moving on to second page when we provide our route according to flight plan. Okay, and our route is Romeo Papa Romeo, Whiskey 19er, R6, Zulu 6, and MOX. Okay, What to do to activate route on this page? We are clicking RTE button and we are coming back to first page. Activate, and we are ready to move on to performance unit. Okay, and this is a place we are coming back to topic of our altitude, our cruise, altitude cruise. This is default cruise speed, 0.74 Mach. You cannot leave this speed as it is. Why? Because on low cruise altitude, for example flight level 230 like ours today, your aircraft will not reach such speed. What will happen in this situation? Your aircraft will start to descend rapidly to gather speed, and then will start to climb rapidly to reach requested flight level. Therefore, you can change it for two ways as well. The first way, if you use detailed flight plan again, you are checking your speed on cruise. On top of climb, this is 0.68, and okay, below 0.7. So yeah, we can set it 0.68, or this is the second option. You can set your speed in knots. So you're typing just 290. Don't be suggested this M character, because this speed 290 is considered by FMC as speed in knots, and I will stay with this option because I want to show you something when we are on cruise. We will come back to this issue. Let's move on to departure. Our departure runway today is runway 02 because of the wind direction. If you don't believe me, I can show you that. Weather, yeah, okay. Yeah, 230 direction and 08 knots. Okay, so our seat departure procedure is Romeo Papa Romeo 1 Alpha, transition Romeo Papa Romeo, activate. Coming back to navigation page, arrival. Our arrival is 15, ILS 15 via Sunbu to Alpha and Moxet. Transition lowness, activate. Okay, we can check it here. Okay, guys, this is our seat procedure. It's okay. Ground, Golf Papa 367, and then VOR Romeo Papa Romeo. Everything is okay. Step. Okay, there are no disconnections. We are coming back to performance init. And we are moving on to another page. Fuel reserve. Fuel reserve. Okay, and we have to add alternate quantity and then final reserve. It makes together, let's say, 1,450 kilograms of fuel. And as I said before, our cruise altitude for this flight will be flight level 230. We're typing 23,000. Okay, as payload and fuel ready, we can just confirm it. Great. We can come back to first page of performance init, and we are coming in takeoff references. Runway heading, we can set it already. And we are moving on. Takeoff data. Guys, this is quite interesting page, and as I've observed on YouTube, watching many videos with Embraer by SSG, this is page completely ignored on these videos. For me, it's quite important because I always try to simulate as real as it gets. And honestly, I've discussed this page with real-life Embraer pilot. This is Mr. Davies, who is first officer on Embraer 175. He explained me a bit this issue, and I will try to forward you this information as well. Mr. Davies, thank you. So let's start from this position. What means TLA? This is thrust level angle that controls trim functions, so it should be set on. And we're going to dataset. Yeah. For this page, your standard settings should be as follows: takeoff 2, ATTCS on, ECS on, and anti-ice off. Flex takeoff temperature on as well. And let's get to know what each of these are. Selecting takeoff 2 gives you the normal durated thrust setting, which preserves engine life. Certainly, in flight simulation, every time when you load X-Paint 11, you get always brand new aircraft and brand new engines. But it also makes your takeoff climb much more smooth than with default thrust setting. Believe me, you will check it by yourself. However, on a short runway, shorter than 7,000 feet, or high altitude airport, or a steep required climb gradient for terrain, or very hot weather, you should use takeoff 1 instead. ATTC will give you an automatic boost in thrust if an engine fires. Of course, if you have auto throttle active, which you should. ECS setting allows the engines to start providing bleed air to the packs for air condition and pressurization. Keep in mind that this limits available thrust. So if you need a higher than normal thrust setting for takeoff, this should be off. But note that if this is off, the APU should be on until the after takeoff checklist is completed. Anti-ice setting determines if engines will provide bleed air to the engine or engine and wing anti-ice systems from taxi to 1,700 feet above the field. Above this altitude, the engines will provide anti-ice bleed air as needed, regardless of the setting you choose here. But if there is any standing water or ice or slush or snow on the ground during taxi or takeoff, or any visible moisture up to this 1,700 feet above the field, and the temperature is between 5 and 10 degrees Celsius, then you should select engine. If those same conditions exist, but the temperature is less than 5 degrees Celsius, you should select all. As our temperature is 11 and our taxiway and runway are dry, our setting today is off. And flex temperature, yeah guys, this is first dependence. The higher is outside air temperature, the highest is default thrust setting. Using flex temperature, you can change this value in takeoff 1 or takeoff 2 mode. In general, for takeoff 2 mode, the expected thrust setting is between 83 and 86%. It's absolutely enough to take off, to successfully take off, if runway is long enough, if you are not too heavy with payload and fuel. Using takeoff 1, the expected thrust setting should be somewhere in 90s, so maybe 91, 92. It really depends on you. Let's check what will happen if we confirm enter without changing flex temperature. As you can see, the flex temperature in default is same like outside air temperature. Enter, and our flex has changed from 95% to 87.7. It's absolutely enough, but we can change this value as well to decrease it using flex temperature and increasing this temperature. Let's see. Sorry, my mistake. The most often pilots set flex temperature between 32 to 35 degrees. Let's start with 35 and enter. Okay, 84. It's still okay. Let's check 35 degrees. Okay, and my proposal is to stay with this value. It's absolutely enough to successfully take off. You may ask, what will happen if takeoff temperature, if outside air temperature will be lower than 11 degrees, when it will be similar like now in Europe, 5, maybe 7. It may happen that your default thrust setting in takeoff 2 will be lower than expected 83 or comparable like this range 83 to 86%. In such situation, you may switch flex temperature off and your thrust setting will stay as default. In other situations, if you really want to use flex temperature, you can always use takeoff 1 and decrease thrust setting using takeoff flex and increasing temperature of takeoff. I hope it's clear for you. If not, you can always ask a question in comments below the video. Anyway, Mr. Davis, thank you again. Now we are coming back to our previous settings, so with flex temperature active. Great. Guys, we cannot do anything from this position. We cannot use previous or next button. Therefore we are coming back to performance index and we are selecting takeoff H. We are again in the same place, but this time we are not going to takeoff the data, we are going to another page. Flaps, the standard flaps for takeoff in Embraer is flaps 2, but of course if you have some shorter runway you can use flaps 4. Takeoff 2 as we said, and ATTCS on as we said. And takeoff speeds. Guys, and this is a moment when I'd like to say thank you again to another person, to another enthusiast of Embraer. This is Mr. Gerson Nerger, who created excellent E-Jets speed calculator. Why do I recommend you this tool? You can download it free from Explain forum. You will find a link to this item below video in description. I recommend you this tool because it's more precise than tables included by SSG in documentation files. Let's see. SSG provided takeoff speeds for flaps 1, flaps 2, but only for takeoff 1 mode. Meanwhile, as you already know, the standard takeoff mode is for Embraer is takeoff 2, and I can make sure that takeoff speeds for takeoff 1 mode and takeoff 2 mode, even with same flap settings, are different. Therefore, I recommend you to at least test this tool by Gerson Nerger. General settings of this tool are quite clear. You are just selecting pounds or kilograms, feet or meters, altimeter or QNH, and Fahrenheit and Celsius. And this is takeoff speeds page. We are flying with Embraer 170, takeoff flaps 2, takeoff mode 2. Our departure airport is Sierra Bravo Golf Papa, get airport and meta. In this specific airport we have to type runway manually, probably because there is some conflict between data about runway length. The real runway length is almost 5,000 meters, but as I can show you on chart, official runway length is just 3,000 meters. As you can see on this chart, official chart of Navigraph, there is even no taxiways, so probably there is some lack of data, and the software by Gerson doesn't see it, cannot see it. But I can make sure that in other airports it works properly. Let's check. Select runway. Okay. Airport elevation QNH. You can set it QNH. Clicking, when you see the arrows, this is switch between QNH and altimeter. Okay. And 1014. This is our current QNH. Okay. Static air temperature 27 degrees. Center gravity, it's 21. It's 21. And our takeoff weight is 31061. Set takeoff configuration. This value is a trimmer. It's a trimmer, pitch trim, and our takeoff speeds. So it's 125, 1, 132, 137, and 184, and we can set it 184 here. We are staying with flight level 100 as initial cruise because I want to share with something related to LNAV and VNAV modes. Okay, from this page, takeoff speeds, we are moving on landing speeds. Approach flap 2, it's absolutely okay. I recommend you to use flap 5 for landing unless you have strong wind. So if you have no strong wind, use flap 5, it's absolutely enough. And let's check our landing speeds. Again, 170 Embraer, arrival airport, it's Sierra Bravo, Sierra Juliet, and our landing weight is our forecasted landing weight. We can and we should check it before descent. Is 29300 runway. Our at airport at Metar, okay. And as you can see, runway is active, is available. Select runway, set landing configuration, compute X-wind. Okay. And our landing speeds are, as we are landing or we are approaching on the flaps, we are landing because we are approaching on flaps 2. For flaps 5, this is 125 plus recommended 5 knots for wind, 130. The approach climb for flaps 2, it's 149er. And final segment speed is 180. Okay, guys. In fact, our FMC is completely configured. Therefore, we may start APU. And as I said before, hydraulic pump 3A. Let's check it with our checklist. Before takeoff, flight attendant notified. Takeoff minimum fuel quantities. Okay, transponder. Sorry, before takeoff. No, not so fast. Before start. Fuel quantity. It's okay. Verified. MCDU verified. Oxygen checked. Altimeters set. Passenger signs not yet. Passenger signs. Parking brake set, and before start check is complete. As we are facing to taxiway, we don't need pushback tow today. Therefore, if APU is on, we are switching off GPU. We are closing the doors, moving out stair. Yeah, we have to set the pitch trim, but we can make it after the start. And we are starting engines. Number 2. And it's number 1. Oh, I forgot to red beacon before engine start. So sorry. It's a terrible mistake. Yes, red beacon. Yeah, I missed this line. I'm very sorry, guys. Okay, we can consider after start checklist. Flight controls. Let's see. Okay. Pitch and trim. As you remember, our pitch trim value was 3.5. Check it here. Takeoff speeds 3.5 up. And this trimmer is out of order. It's not configured by SSG, but you can configure it on your own yoke or joystick, or if not, you can use this button. I will use it to show you. Just take a look here. $3.5. It's okay. Yes. Takeoff data. Okay. ACAS. Not ready because we are still with APU. Shoulder harness, of course. Flaps. Checked. And after start, checklist complete. Guys, we are ready for taxi.